What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what you need to know about this year's Fortnitemares update. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what you think of this year's Fortnitemares update, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolvedJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So this year, we have a massive update for Fortnitemares. We got several new items, several new characters on the map, and several map changes as well. We're going to start off with the items, and I think the one that most people are going to be interested in is the new Ghostface item. There will be ringing phone booths around the map, and when you go inside, you actually get this item. And this is a melee weapon, and like a lot of the other melee weapons we've had in Chapter 6, it also improves your sprint speed, your stamina, and your jump. The damage on this is 55 and 70, just kind of depends on what stage in the attack you're in. And this sounds like a lot, but its only attack is the regular melee, so it's very limited on range. It's like, if you guys remember in Chapter 6, the regular, or Chapter 6 is 1, the regular attack of the Typhoon Blade wasn't the big deal. It was like the charged attack or the swipe attack, and same thing with the bat. So with this knife, if someone just gets up on you, they can kill you really quick, but you shouldn't be letting people get on you like that without doing, early damage to them. And with how much mobility we have in the game right now, I really don't think playing against this is going to be that difficult. Instead of a ranged swipe attack, this item has a scanning ability, which marks enemy players in the area, similar to the tracking visor we had last season. And that sounds super busted, but the range on the scan is actually nothing crazy. It's actually really limited on range. This would be helpful if like you knew somebody was in a bush near you, or you were outside a house. You can maybe scan most of the house. Same with the bunkers. The scan wouldn't reach through the entire bunker. So there's like situations where the scan is going to be good, but I don't think carrying this just for the scan is really going to be that viable, like how the tracking visor was. Running around as Ghostface felt good. But as far as mobility items go, it's solid, but there's other things I would rather use. Another melee weapon we got is the Thorn Ripper chains. This is just a reskin of the Hades chains that we had in Chapter 5 Season 2. It has an alternate ability where you can pull enemies and pull loot towards you. And then it has, the melee spam attack like a lot of other melee weapons do. The Scooby Snacks are probably my favorite item that was added in this update, and this is a healing item. You get 10 health or shield for every half second you use it, filling health first, obviously. And it will give you faster sprint speed and unlimited stamina for a period of time after use. And at max, it has 250 heal that it can give you. So I think as far as healing items go, this is very, very good. It's like a solid healing item on its own. But getting that faster sprint speed and getting unlimited stamina for a period of time after using it is also really nice. It kind of reminds me of the Chug Jug we had in Chapter 6 Season 2 that gave you Slap as well. It just doesn't have 400 use, it has 250. And so I think this is going to be a good healing item. One unfortunate thing about it, though, is if you eliminate someone who has this in their inventory, it doesn't drop full all the time like how the Fizz does. I'm not really sure why that is the way it is, but that's how it is. The Witch's Broom is a returning item from previous Fortnitemares. When you activate this, it shoots you up into the air, and it allows you to fly around until you land or detach from it. And if you do choose to detach from it, you can swap weapons, but you won't actually pull the weapon out and be able to shoot until you land back on the ground. And one change now is that it does have a limited number of uses. And I actually think this is a really, really outdated item at this point in time. And I'm surprised they add a set number of uses to it, because it has a pretty long cooldown after use. And as far as mobility goes, it's okay, but it's not great. And when you put it in a season that has shockwave grenades, crash pads, the shockwave hammer, these new sprinting mobility items, I just don't see it being that good. What I would have liked to see is maybe make it have a set number of uses like they did, but make the cooldown time on it much shorter, because the cooldown time on it I feel like is really long for it to be a relevant mobility item in the current loot pool. There's just much better choices, I think. The chainsaw is the third melee item they added in this update, and this is just a chainsaw that you can swing at enemy players near you, and then you can also ride around on it as a mobility item. And I think this is an okay mobility item, but we have the shockwave hammer in the game, and we have shockwaves in the game. We have the Ghostface sprint. So If the Shockwave Hammer was vaulted, I feel like the mobility meta in this update would be a lot more open and a lot more interesting, but the Shockwave Hammer existing just makes me want to use that over any of these other items. I know a lot of people do like riding around on the chainsaw. It was popular last year, but again, last year there was less mobility in the loot pool by the time Fortnitemares came around. So this isn't an item I will personally be using very well, and I've always felt that the person just riding around on the chainsaw is very beamable. So of these new items, my personal favorite is the Ghostface and the Scooby Snacks. The Ghostface Sprint was fine. I would rather use a Shockwave Hammer, but it was fine, and then the scanning was useful sometimes. But the Witch's Broom and the Chainsaw are not really my preferred mobility at this point in time. We do have two more returning items, though. We got the Wood Stake Shotgun. This is a shotgun that shoots wooden stakes. It functions kind of like a slug shotgun, where it has good range and very consistent damage because you either hit the stake and get all of your damage, or you miss and get none of it. But that kind of risk reward makes it more of a risk to use because it's harder to hit shots with than any other shotgun because it only shoots at one stake. The reason why shotguns are such good close range weapons is that they're very easy to aim in close range because you just shoot a spread of pellets. As long as the person is in your crosshair, you'll get some damage. But the kind of slug shotguns, or the ones that shoot a single thing like this, are more like high risk, high reward. If your aim is perfect all the time, you'll have really good range, consistent, hard-hitting shots. But, you know, you can sometimes get unlucky if your aim isn't always perfect and end up hitting for nothing at all, which will cost you over the course of the fight. And then the Pumpkin Launcher is a reskin of the RPG for Fortnitemares, where it shoots pumpkins. But this is just a standard RPG. You shoot it at an enemy, you'll get about 100 damage of splash, and it's been what it's been for many, many years. We also got several map changes with this update. There's 4 named POI changes, but in actuality, there's like 2 new POIs. Creepy Camps replaces a resistance base, and this is kind of the Jason Voorhees area, which kind of resembles his camp from the movies. And he actually is a boss at Creepy Camps, and if you eliminate him, he will drop a legendary Slurp Juice, 800 gold, and a mythic version of the Wood Stake Shotgun. It was previously leaked that he would have a medallion, and that medallion isn't actually attainable right now. I'm not sure if it'll maybe come later down the line in Fortnitemares, or if they just scrapped that idea. But there is a medallion for Jason in the files of the game that a lot of people thought would be coming. Freaky Fields replaces the Outpost Enclave. So we have 2 Star Wars POIs replaced with this update, and this is kind of a creepy farm area. Viney Shafts has replaced Shiny Shafts, and Pumpkin Pass has replaced Shining Span. But these 2 locations are mostly just cosmetic changes. The main kind of layout of the POI remains the same. And then many other POIs and areas on the map also got Halloween decorations added. So I'm not sure why they chose to rename Shiny Shafts and Shining Span when like the entire map got decorated basically. But that is what it is with the map changes. I said Jason was a boss at Creepy Camps, and Doja Cat is also a boss on the map that you can get as a hired NPC. But she has like a few different locations where she can actually spawn. Freaky Fields is one of them though, and then there's one by Supernova Academy as well. So Doja Cat is a boss, Jason is a boss. Another change we got with this update is that all the K-pop Demon Hunters items were removed from Battle Royale. I believe they're still in the Demon Rush mode. So the teleporting mask, the golden shield bubbles, the ramen noodles, and the sword, all of those items were removed with this update, which is kind of surprising because they were only in the game for a week. Another change that was only in the game for a week is going to be the way bunkers work. Last week, Fortnite took the exotics out of the bunker and put the mythic weapons in the bunker. But with this update, they took the mythic weapons out, and now the exotics are back as your reward from the bunker. So if you go to a bunker, you have a chance of getting the exotic Wrecker Revolver, the exotic Precision SMG, the exotic Fury AR, or the exotic Slap Fizz, like how it was prior to the K-pop Demon Hunters update. The legendary version of the pump shotgun was added, and this is only the legendary version, so only the gold one is in. The other rarities of the pump are not actually in the loot pool, and while playing today, I only saw this one time, so like the spawn rate of it is not very high, and it's not something you're going to be consistently getting. The crash pads were added back into the loot pool as a mobility item. This is okay, I guess, because crash pads are nice, but one unfortunate change about them being added back for me personally is that now the OXR shops are not guaranteed shockwaves. You can get either crash pads or shockwaves spawning in them again, like how it was previously, One of the most significant updates for this, or one of the most significant changes in this update, surprisingly, has nothing to do with Halloween, and that is going to be that the Wrecker Revolver was nerfed. And I will probably make a video about this in a day or two, going more in depth about the changes and what I think of it, and kind of, you know, how I evaluate if it's good or not now. But the damage was reduced. The close range was buffed, and what this means, I think, is the range before you start to get damage fall off was increased a bit, but the long range damage was nerfed, or the long range was nerfed, so I guess that you get to long range sooner. The way the ranges sometimes work is that guns have like a close range damage, a medium range damage, and a long range damage. So your medium range got a bit shorter because your close range is longer and your long range is happening sooner. It's a very confusing change. The spread is lowered, which should actually be an improvement for it, making the gun more accurate and more consistent. The max damage per shot was reduced from 130 to 125. This is the damage cap, and I would assume this was changed for every rarity. And then one big change is that the fire rate was reduced slightly. So we got damage reduced, max damage reduced, fire rate reduced, and then some changes with the range. So the Wrecker Revolver was nerfed quite a bit in this update. None of these changes were like drastic. It's not like they killed the range or killed the damage or killed the fire rate, but all of these things kind of happened a little bit. Playing today, it felt okay. It did feel a bit off. Like you can kind of notice the fire rate change. It feels a little awkward to use, but a lot of people were still using it, and so that kind of makes it tough to judge whether or not it's still really good. If everybody's still using it, it doesn't really matter because it's what you're playing against, you know? So I don't think the revolver is terrible, but it definitely did get nerfed, and I feel like this is just an improvement to double pump playstyles. Before, double pump had an advantage in close range, but if you played well, you know, you could outplay it, and you can still outplay it with just a single revolver, but it's definitely going to be much harder now than it was before, and it was already pretty tough in kind of those close range fights if you didn't have early damage. And then one final thing I want to talk about is that there is a free Butcher Pig skin that you can unlock by earning account levels during this Fortnitemares. You need to earn 15 account levels, and then you unlock the Butcher Pig skin. So Fortnitemares goes from now until the end of the season, so until November 1st. And so you have that long to earn 15 account levels, and that's something that most people who play the game on a somewhat regular basis will have no problem doing. But that is going to be it for this video. Just wanted to quickly go over what you need to know about this year's Fortnitemares. As always, if you guys did find this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.